Swann Holloway. What is there to say about Swann? Quite a bit, actually, but I will try to keep this to a reasonable length. When starting the script for this video, I had a list of paragraphs cut from my other videos compiled into a section labeled Swann Video, maybe? When looking back over them, I realized the part of her story that kept creeping back into my writing was the ideas of detachment and connection. So let's explore that, shall we? If you haven't played Lost Records Bloomin' Rage, then why are you here? Go on and play it and then come back. Or not, I'm not the boss of you. I don't think you need to have played the game to enjoy this video, but I do think this story is worth experiencing first yourself before I or somebody else tells you how to feel about it. Video games as an art form can do something that is difficult for other methods of storytelling to accomplish. It can put you literally into a story as one of the main characters and force you to interact with it the way that character might. This can increase your personal identification with a character when the game itself reacts to those different actions, and it feels like they're reacting to you. The word ludonarrative seemed to be everywhere in gaming videos in the before times, though I don't see it as often these days. So in case you haven't heard it before, ludonarrative is the relationship between a game's mechanics and its story elements. Ludonarrative dissonance might be a character who doesn't want to kill people in cutscenes, mowing down nameless thugs in a fight beforehand as gameplay. Ludonarrative harmony is something that I talk about in my Night in the Woods series, with the game encouraging you to make the main character May as annoying and rebellious as possible to witness more of the narrative elements and reinforce her in-game reputation as this person who never does what they're told and likes to piss off authority figures, even if that figure is just a grumpy person who wants you to get the hell off their porch. When I think about Swann's part in this particular game, I think about the harmony of her own journey and the mechanics of playing as her. The game takes place across two timelines. One is the summer of 1995, where Swann is a teenager hanging out with a new group of friends, Nora, Autumn, and Kat. This is a time of infinite possibility. It is before the mainstreaming of the internet and the simultaneous, constant connectedness and weird detachment of the digital age. The other half of the game is in 2022, with the shadow of the recent global pandemic looming in the background. A time where physical connections decayed and many people were forced to do everything through a screen over the internet. The story is about these four girls on the cusp of adulthood who meet and become friends over the course of a beautiful summer. I won't run down the whole plot here, but I will elaborate on elements I think are important to know for understanding my ideas. In the past sections, we are playing from a third-person perspective with the camera in standard over-the-shoulder positioning. The only exception to this is when Swann is using her video camera, a defining feature of who she is as a movie buff with vague dreams of a career in film. When using her camera, we see things as she does. We are looking through her eyes directly toward the things she is interested in. The people or places or objects that she thinks are important enough that she wants to seal them away forever in film, while simultaneously those people, places, and objects see Swann in a way that we, the player, no longer can, as we are brought completely into how she sees the world, which is without her as an active participant. In the present timeline, we see things directly through Swann's eyes without that filter of the camera lens until the very end of the story. I'll get to why I think that matters later. We don't see much of past Swann as she was on an average day in her life during this game. I say that because every day from the moment she found out she was moving to Canada for her dad's job is not normal for her. The upcoming move hangs over her head and boxes begin to fill up her bedroom as various parts of her life, as it has always been, are packed away. So she decides she will make something of a memoir, a documentary about her hometown of Velvet Cove to bring with her when she leaves. Not necessarily to showcase to others, but to remind herself what she loved about this place now that she is faced with leaving it forever. Something to keep her feeling connected to this part of herself that she feels is slipping away. In the present, we are immediately shown that Swann has experienced a disconnection that many of us might empathize with. Her conversation with her mother is strained and full of examples of these two people talking past each other. Some of it is plain old generational and family misunderstanding, but I also see a reluctance to be vulnerable, something that is necessary for true connection and attachment. This reluctance is mirrored in younger Swann's conversations with her mother and even her early interactions with the other girls who will become her friends. We know that she is bullied and has a lot of interests that mark her as an outsider. Even with a peer group around her own age, she is reluctant to be vulnerable, with the player having the choice to apologize over and over for potentially acting weird. You can't see it, but I'm making air quotes around the word weird because weird is relative. Swann doesn't know what it is like to be accepted wholly for who she is, and it's a lot easier to observe things as an outsider than get in the middle and see how other people might feel about you, how they perceive you. To do that, you have to be vulnerable. You have to put down the camera to interact with the world fully. When we first see Swann in the past, she is in her bedroom. The scene is picturesque in a way that only nostalgic memories can be. She can relax in her bed and take it all in without much care toward what else she should be doing right now. That's a feeling most of us lose the ability to experience as we age into adult responsibilities and start feeling guilty about time spent on leisure. Swann is alone here, but not necessarily lonely. Her journey sees her meeting the perfect friend group with Autumn, Nora, and Kat. They aren't hanging out with her to make fun of her, they genuinely like her. She didn't have to change to fit in the way her mom might have wanted, she just had to find her little group of weirdos. Tape 1 of the game is a heart-wrenching montage of Swann finding personal fulfillment in the connections she has made with other people. The game takes pains to linger on these moments of pure joy they all experience before it crashes down at the end of Tape 1. The girls live out their riot girl dreams with a concert outside a local bar before Kat collapses and we discover that she is dying of leukemia. Roll credits on Tape 1. When we reach Tape 2 of the game, Swann is consciously experiencing for the first time a sense of true disconnection, of loss. She has learned to be vulnerable with these girls who see her and love her for who she is, and has now been burned by the anguish personal attachments can create. Her bedroom seems less welcoming than before, with some of her things already packed away. She talks to her camera about what happened at the concert, but her speech is stilted and awkward, a drastic contrast to her bubbly exuberance in her previous recordings. What happened feels so big and overwhelming, but here she is having to think about moving away when the world seems to have screeched to a halt. The game actually makes you stop what you're thinking about to actually pack a box. The realities of her life won't wait for her to come to terms with what she knows. She just has to find a way to cope. I think the choice to set the present sections of the game in 2022 is truly perfect. The pandemic had been going on for years at that point, but the shift back to business as usual was already well underway. COVID was still a problem, but people had started to live around it the way you have to with any horrible thing that happens. For some people, the psychological strain of the pandemic was enormous. Screen time on phones or TVs became unavoidable as work and school and even leisure moved online. Grocery shopping happened through apps, and your doctor appointments became telehealth. Because you can't just stop doing those things to deal with only this awful thing happening in the world. You have to compartmentalize as needed and keep it moving. Over time, this practice removes you further from the world around you. It might become harder to feel that sense of connection and fulfillment as you have to mentally section off more of yourself to make it through the day. Then one day you get a text from an old friend and all the walls you've built up start to crack. We meet Swann at 2 points in her life. Once before a traumatizing event for her on a personal level, and again after one that affected the entire world. Even when the whole world felt that same pain, we all still had to pack our boxes and keep living our lives. At this point in 2022, she no longer sees herself in the world around her. She admits that she never really put herself out there again after they made their promise to forget at the end of the summer of '95. Her life isn't an unhappy one, and I really want to stress that part. She still enjoys being alone, she works in a bookstore she loves, she never stopped hiking and does solo traveling to places she always wanted to visit. And she's working on a book. But she still feels that disconnect, that inability to be vulnerable in a way that might open a door to connection. A door to something that could hurt later on. Connection with other people is a beautiful thing. It can help you see yourself in a totally different way than when it is just you alone. Even very independent people who like to be alone benefit from positive social connections. The game all started because a mysterious package was dropped off at adult Autumn's mom's house in Velvet Cove. Autumn united the girls, now adult women, to open it together. It is covered in newspaper, with articles dating back to the year they all parted, when Kat was swallowed up by the mysterious abyss outside of town, leaving the world on her own terms. The girls promised they would forget everything that happened during that long ago summer, and they did. but once this package appears, the memories start flooding back. Their band name, Bloom and Rage, is accompanied by messages about remembering us, remembering me. Throughout the game, you can help Nora and Autumn feel like you really connected as friends in the past, and also, if you play your cards right, get them to feel like they have reconnected with you and each other in the present. Like they can finally face the past even though it hurts. One or both of them can stay with Swann at the bar, or they can both leave her alone to open the package by herself as the only one who will try to face what you all lost. Symbols chosen by the girls are the key: Cat as the raven, Nora as the sun, Autumn as the moon, and Swann as the moth. The moth symbolism for Swann is everywhere in the game. Choices you make can even determine what her moth mask looks like in the burning of the Michelson Ranch. Moths are part of folklore around the world. They can symbolize change, death, life, transformation, connection, and so many other things. Swann's story was carefully molded in a way to fit in with that symbol. Once they get the lock open, we see that the box could only have come from Cat, from the abyss. It contains mementos of their summer together and a final letter from Cat, written before the climax of the game in 1995. Some of the mementos are things that were lost in the abyss, including Swann's camera. She picks it up to discover that it still has battery life despite all the time that has passed, as if she just dropped it yesterday instead of decades ago. She turns it on, turns the lens toward herself, and we finally get to see adult Swann as everybody else does. She has literally reconnected with this part of her past and regained a sense of self that has been missing. She smiles at the camera, and we can see that young, exuberant girl shining through again. Depending on your choices, Swann and the other two women will revisit places that were important to them in their youth. They are accompanied by ghostly versions of whoever isn't there. The ghostly impressions are in their younger bodies, the version of them that the adults remember, instead of being replaced by the much changed but reconnected adults they have become. When we don't see people for a long time, the version we have in our head remains static and unchanging. But when we reconnect, that shifts. We can see them as who they are now and enjoy our memories of the past together. I cannot express to you how emotional this ending makes me feel every time. I want everybody I know to play this game and feel what I felt. I live very far away from many of my longtime friends. So every time I see them, I have to shift the image of them that I have in my mind to fit who they are now. And I really liked that this game explored that. So that was the Swann character analysis. I hope you liked it. I moved up my character analysis videos because I was struggling with the Rage video. I knocked this script out in a couple days, so it turns out I just had this idea mostly fully cooked and the other one still needs some time in the oven. And I needed to stop trying to force it. Good news, everyone! I have my own Discord now. The catch is, you can only join if you are a subscriber to my Patreon. So if you want to chat or see where I'm at in video production, that is where I post it now. Even if you only subscribe for a month and have to cancel, you stay in the Discord. And speaking of patrons, I want to thank Kathy for my ending music and all of my current and former patrons listed below, starting with a special thanks to my new patrons. Tequila Sunset, Rick Osborne, Ashawi. Is that how you say it? I should probably ask. Sam, Raccoon in the Distance, The Cube of Orbis, Epic Otters, Katie P, Sean M. Dudley, Sarah B, Arachnalo, Ray, Mark, Olivia Kenny, Kirsten, Red, Tamara Larimore, Dustin C, Bruce C, Pink Leisha, and Alora B. Thank you all so much for sticking with me. See you in the next one.